Recording.
I see record.
Is that Valley Peters in Montana, intuitive artist? Welcome.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and just, share with you a little bit about what I'm doing.
Yeah, excellent. So I saw online you said that you are an intuitive painter. I was curious about that. Uh, would you just mind giving us a whirl on what that means to you and what you're up to?
Absolutely. So I really didn't know anything about intuitive painting, and I think it was probably about maybe 8 years ago when I first came across this. It was just kind of a time in my life where I was going through a little bit of a personal crisis, and I really needed a reset point, a transition, So I got online, I was looking for some creative outlets, and I came across this woman. Her name is Chris Zeidel. She is amazing, so that's a little plug for her too. But anyway, she offers these retreats for intuitive painting, and I joined her at Ghost Ranch, where Georgia O'Keeffe lived and painted for such a long time. And it was such an inspiring place, not only to be in a place where Georgia O'Keeffe had lived and created, but obviously to learn about this intuitive painting process. And the principles of the process are pretty simple. It's very much focused on following your energy. So that might look like just simply looking at colors and saying, what color am I attracted to right now? What energy am I feeling? Do I want to make a big, expressive, and bold sort of mark? Or am I feeling like I just want to do something small? And so really following whatever energy that you feel. So that was kind of one principle that became really important to me. And then, of course, we learned about the environment. And one of the important things that we found was that you cannot judge other people's work. And, we had 10, I think 12, maybe 15, I can't remember exactly how many people, but they were all painting away. And it was critical that no one ever commented on each other's work. And so that set this, kind of a liberating environment in that you knew it didn't matter what you did or didn't do. It was never going to be judged. No one was going to comment on what you did. And so it was so freeing for the first time in my life to be painting and just, having whatever come out and knowing I didn't have to produce something beautiful. There's no pressure. It's really this completely different way we think about art, because most of us think of, art has to be something amazing and it has to express something profound and all of these things. But no, when you start with intuitive painting, it's just all about what you bring to the canvas or paper, whatever you're painting on, and it's all about this inner process. So sorry, that was a really long answer.
No. So had you been painting before, or did you discover it with this retreat?
I've always been really attracted to art all of my life. I've loved art galleries. I've loved exploring, dance and all of these other creative outlets. I kind of was making these bizarre wire sculptures for a little while. I was doing stuff with glass, and I would say, so before I was doing intuitive painting, I was kind of exploring these other creative outlets. So then it's been within the last 1.5 to 2 years that I really started painting and having more of a home practice on a regular basis.
Yeah. And then these faces behind you, actually that's kind of what drew my attention initially. I saw your faces, and that's why I brought this sort of wedding portrait behind me. I saw sort of a comparison. Can you talk to us a little bit about those?
Absolutely. And by the way, I love your couple there.
Oh, thank you. I created this piece specifically for Condé Nast's bridal magazine.
Oh,
They
great.
haven't responded.
Yet, right? Yet is
Yeah.
the key word. Yeah, so I think what drew me to create faces is kind of a couple of things. One is that I have a real interest in feminist theory, women's history, and I was a women's studies major in college, and so I have this sort of background. So I'm juxtaposing sort of that personal experience and beliefs along with how so many women, I think, are expected to conform to all of these different conventions. Not that men aren't. Men have plenty of conventions to conform to as well. But obviously, since I'm a female, that's what I'm coming from my experience. And I started thinking about my mom and how, she's selfless, she sacrifices for everyone else, and she's just this amazing, compassionate, kind woman. And so kind of I think what we would typically think of as like the ideal woman, and I thought there's all this kind of wildness and other things that she keeps under wraps that no one really sees, but yet I felt like if we were to see her real face, so I'm thinking through this idea of authenticity, what would it look like? So one night I'm just hanging out here at home and starting to draw the face, but her hair is just huge blue thing, and then seashells started coming out and all of these different designs. And for me, I tried to encapsulate this idea of there's this untamed part of her, and I was trying to capture that through my work. And I think that got me thinking about women in general, and all of the things that we don't show, we keep hidden. And so that's kind of what I've played with in a lot of the faces, and more the portraits that I've been working on.
It's sort of like the self exploration kind of. What's that? There's a painter that does it with an F. What's her name? She was married to the sort of muralist, Frida.
Oh, Frida Kahlo, yes.
Yeah, where she explored all.
Yeah, I love her work. Absolutely stunning. Yeah.
But I didn't mean to distract. You were talking about the intuitive art. I didn't mean to distract from these colors behind you. That orange is very vibrant. Are you? How do you select these colors? How are you mixing them? Are you using the tube? Or what's sort of your color exploration theory, I guess?
Yeah. So I think I tend to be really attracted to vibrant colors, which may be as a result of I kind of have a lot high energy person, and I sort of my goal is to live life big, and just sort of exuberant in that way. So I tend to find that I'm really drawn to pretty bold colors. And part of me felt a little hesitant or shy about that after I started looking at all of my paintings and then looking at other paintings, and it's like, oh wow, maybe I shouldn't have such crazy colors. But it felt true to myself, and also to what I was trying to show maybe about some of these women is again the idea of authenticity and living really out loud and taking up space. I think that some of those ideas can't come through well with the bold colors. So the painting on my right here really started, I think, to be more of an abstract painting, because I was more focused on painting intuitively with this one. And I was just really drawn to orange the night that I started painting this. I worked for 6 hours, kind of just consecutively on it. And
did you paint that in 6 hours, the whole thing?
Yes, kind of, and I try to take pictures, so I have the progression that I can go back and look at,
Yeah,
which
that's a beautiful
helps
piece. I
me
like
to
it.
kind of think about my decision making, as I'm developing. Um, so yeah, and I think in the end, I'm still not quite done with this piece. I don't know exactly where it's going to end up. Um, I kind of, when I ended, I felt like there was this image of a cup, and I was kind of feeling like, oh, like the poet's cup was a title that sort of jumped out to me. I don't know if I'll end up sticking with that, but I wrote a little bit about that. I made a little poem about it, trying to kind of guide my thinking. We'll see if it sticks or if something else, emerges.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to finish a painting. You have to kind of like look at it and make a conscious decision to stop working on it a little bit.
Absolutely. It's one of the hardest things I think right now for me is knowing when is it completed, because I kind of look at this and say, well, yeah, I can see maybe it's finished, but then it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's completed until somebody takes it home.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. If somebody says, okay, it's good. Oh, okay.
So that's a good transition. This channel that we're on right now is
Hmm.
geared towards the emerging artist,
Hmm.
and so I feel like a lot of artists that have a larger body of work, but they don't know really what to do with it. Somebody like you, you're sort of uh, I'm seeing you exhibit recently. Can you kind of talk to us about how you're finding these locations and like what your next plan for the future is, like how to go about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually just came across this opportunity. I had a friend introduce me to an owner of a salon where they exhibit art. And, I sent in pictures of my paintings, and they said, great, we'd be happy to do a show for you. So I just feel really fortunate that they were, you know, really kind and gave me that opportunity right off the bat. I'm definitely interested in pursuing exhibiting my art at some of the art walks that we have here in Bozeman. There are there's a cultural center called the Emerson here, and there's a gallery where artists can apply to have their work shown in that one part of the gallery for a month. So eventually, as I get to produce more coherent work and you know, create more professionalism around my art, I would like to certainly pursue, maybe being in a gallery, of course. But at the same time, there's so many outlets now, whether it's Instagram or showing your work um, on Facebook, social media. We have a lot more opportunities as artists, I feel like, to get our work out there.
Yeah. One thing for sure, calls for artists. I mean, if you just Google calls for artists wherever you're at, Bozeman, Portland,
Hmm.
Chicago, wherever, people are consistently asking for images for whatever, they need art for. That's where I,
Hmm.
I focus is, and actually last month, I just started doing the artist walk uh, on the street. It was kind of fun. It's weird,
Nice.
kind of trying to sell your artwork to people. You don't really. How do you do it?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, and maybe you can do a future interview on that. But like you said, I'm definitely interested in learning more about the calls for artists and reaching out, many, many years down the road. I hope to, have, maybe a booth. So applying to art fairs and so traveling and, looking at selling art through that avenue as well.
Yeah. Your body of work. How many pieces would you say you have right now?
I think I'm up to around 25, so not a
That's
huge
not a
number.
small amount. That's a lot of paintings.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel really pleased with being able to juggle my professional life, working full time and painting really at night and on the weekends. I'm really looking forward to having free time this summer to delve deep into creating a new series of paintings, hopefully in a more abstract form, and kind of loosening up and exploring sort of expressionism a little bit more.
Combining maybe like the faces and like you're an intuitive, or would you do that?
Yeah, what I'm seeing as my next step is, kind of abstracting the faces a little bit more and loosening up those compositions, and so somehow kind of a little bit of what's on each side. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, what will that look like?
Yeah, I'm interested to see that. That'll be great.
Thank you.
Well, Valley Peters, I want to thank you for meeting me on Google Zoom.
Absolutely. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I'm excited to see what other guests you bring on and as you develop your series.
And maybe we'll do it again. Yeah.
I would love that.
Excellent. Well, you have a good evening.
Thank you. You as well. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.